So the Miami Hurricanes are going to the Final Four. Justin, you've got to be really excited about this, not just because you're a former player, but a longtime fan of the program. It's got to be a great sense of accomplishment, and just very proud to be a Hurricane as always. But going to the Final Four, it's got to be mean something extra for you and everyone that you're friends with that played there.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it is surreal that the Canes are in the Final Four. I was just at the airport yesterday with my dad. He was wearing his hat, and how many times did people stop us and say, "Oh, are you guys going to Houston? Are you going to Houston? Go Canes!" Other people, fans of other teams, saying the one team we're worried about is the U. So it's pretty cool to get all this attention, to be in the Final Four for the first time. And hey, we got two more left, so we're not done yet.
Yeah, and you're going to be in Houston there, going to get a chance to see former players. Coach mentioned, I think, the number 40. It could be a lot of former guys. Are there some guys you've talked to that that will be there?
Yeah, I heard the same thing in the 40s. I think there's probably going to be more that we don't even realize are going to show up. But I've heard that, who have I talked to? I heard that one of the other walk-ons I played with, Ryan Quicktar, is going to be there. I'm blanking out on some names, but definitely have gotten a lot of texts, a lot of people that we all know are going to be there. And I'm excited to not only cheer on the Canes, but see some people I haven't seen in a few years.
Yeah, it's definitely an exciting time for the program. Let's talk about this, Justin. What are the keys for Miami to beating UConn? Just we're talking to that. We're getting in depth on this situation. This game, I mean, it's obviously a huge game. Miami's got a chance to win and move on, playing really well. 13 of 15 they've won going into this game. Same as UConn, but UConn's also 13-2 in the last 15. Just specifically keys to win, or maybe the main thing, and then again we'll branch this off, we'll expand off this, but what are you thinking here? A big key for Miami to win this game?
I think there's several keys, but something that just sticks out to me is every time that I've been watching games during the tournament, I see UConn up 20, and they are average win by 20 points. They've had some pretty a smooth ride, you could call it, and I just think we need to come out, hit them first, make it a close game, take a lead early, and not think that we're just going to come back at the end like we did against Texas and have a big run to close it out. I think we need to strike first, strike early, and put the pressure on them a little bit. They haven't really had much stress in this tournament, much pressure, and hopefully we can be the team to bring it.
To your point, that's essentially what makes these upsets happen, essentially in the earlier rounds, where teams that are favored to win, if they're in a tight game, maybe they're not playing as well as you typically would expect, and the lower seeded teams can actually stay in the game, and then it makes things, you put a lot more pressure on it. It's a similar situation of what you're saying of UConn's had a comfortable leads. They've rolled, obviously the big game against Gonzaga in the second half really poured it on there. And I think it will be interesting. Will we see the same UConn team if Miami can stay in the game early? Will they start to get rattled? The way we saw, just from a Miami standpoint, the way we saw Texas get rattled a little bit there in the second half there. We saw Houston deal with it too. Houston had won a lot of games, struggling down the stretch, didn't play great when Marcus Sasser went out there in the conference championship game, but it just got away from them. And I think that's the thing. If Miami can kind of get to things early, do well, put pressure on them, especially offensively, that's where Miami does really well. Offensively, Justin, your thoughts on maybe what's gone well for Miami, or what's the key for Miami offensively in this one?
Yeah, so I mean, there's been a different guy in each game that has kind of stepped up and rallied the team and got us going. But I think based on the last game, we definitely need to put some pressure on them, get out in transition, and shoot and hit open threes. So didn't really get into our game from the 3-point line against Texas. Not what we're used to, and I don't think we're best when we're only shooting 8 threes. So got to get guys like Pack and Wong open looks, Jordan Miller too. I mean, I think we gotta run. We can't let them try to be physical and slow us down. We got to run and hit some open threes in transition too.
To your point, the 4 games Miami's played in the tournament, 3 different guys have led them in scoring: Nigel Pack, Isaiah Wong, Jordan Miller. I'm just going to run through the point totals for the 4 games just to show you to tell you guys just how it's been, but Pack has led the team in scoring in the tournament, 74 points, and he was fourth going into the tournament in scoring. That kind of shows you what Miami can do offensively with just getting points in different ways. He was named most outstanding player of the region there, 66 points for Wong and Miller also, and then Poplar is fourth on the team with 48 points, Omier 42. That's the starting five for Miami. They get points in different ways. Right now, we've seen, they've been making threes, but they're 2-point field goals. They've been able to get drives. If teams are really pressuring the 3-point line the way Texas did, Miami's got a chance to drive and score buckets in that way. One thing that Dan Hurley said, the coach at UConn, again, he just mentioned that they can't foul. And it's not necessarily to get in foul trouble. Obviously, no team does want to get in foul trouble, but UConn's a deep team, and I think they can withstand some foul trouble if they have to deal with it. But he said just can't put Miami on the free throw line. That's the way in terms of fouling. Miami goes 28-32 last game from the free throw line. They've shot free throws well all game long. So I find that to be a key part. It'll be interesting to see how physical UConn will be with fouls, particularly on drives.
Yeah, 100%. And then the opposite side of that is, as always, we can't get into foul trouble. So I know they have a big guy who is one of the key pieces to their team. Maybe run the offense through him a little bit, and we just, as always, we cannot afford to have Norchad pick up any fouls early. Need him out there, and so the same way they don't want to foul us, I don't think we want to foul them either.
Yeah, and one of the interesting matchups with Nigel Pack is it looks like the way it squares up, it looks like he might be going up against Tristan Newton. Pack about 6 foot, Newton lists at 6'5", and UConn goes 6'5", 6'6", the first three spots with Andre Jackson, obviously with Jordan Hawkins, and we'll see about Jordan Hawkins and his availability, but Naheem Aline can come in at 6'4". They've got some bigger guards there, but in particular with Pack, I think it's going to be interesting to see where he's getting his shots from. Is he able to get some mid-range going? Will he be able to take threes essentially on the line? We've seen him step back a little bit and hit threes, some long threes, but I wonder if he's going to be taking some longer threes, because if Newton's guarding him and Newton's length and size, Pack might have to step back a little bit. Is that something that you think smaller guards have to deal with, or what are the keys for a guy like Pack that might be going up against a guard or will be going up against somebody taller than him?
Yeah, I mean, look, he's played in the ACC all year, so he's gone up against some bigger guards. And when we had that nice home stretch towards the end of the year, I specifically remember us talking about he was getting to the hoop. So he was blowing by guys. They were pressing or pressuring him out on the three. He got to the hoop. He was hitting some mid-range. So I think if he can get some of those shots early, maybe back these guys off a little bit, then he won't need to take that many steps back behind the three. But at the same time, he's pretty good from a few steps behind the three. So I think he's got to just keep doing what he's doing. I'm sure they will be trying to pressure him and not let him shoot, especially using that length. But he's got to use his teammates, try and get to the hoop a little bit, back them off, and get right to where he wants to be on the three-point line.
Norchad Omier is certainly a key for Miami. Has been all season long. He's going to go up against Adama Sanogo, averaging 20 points a game in the tournament, having a great season. How do you look at this matchup in particular with Omier, Sanogo? What's been the key for Omier when he's faced bigger guys or quality bigger players like he has in the ACC?
Same thing. I mean, on paper, definitely doesn't look favorable, but all year he's been in the same boat, played against guys way bigger than him. And in some of those games that we look severely outsized, that's when he stepped up and had some huge double-doubles. So he's just got that motor. He's got that physicality. It doesn't matter if he's playing against someone bigger or stronger than him. He finds a way. So I'm confident that he's going to do that. Got to stay away from foul trouble for sure. And if he's able to do that, I like our chances with Omier over whatever big guy they got for him.
One of the big keys I think is going to be in the game is just seeing how lineups get there out on the court on minutes, who's out there, particularly from a UConn standpoint, because they have more flexibility a little bit with their, a little bit deeper team than Miami. So I'm curious to see how that goes, and particularly with Naheem Aline. Again, he could get a larger role if Jordan Hawkins is unable to go, dealing with health issue. Friday wasn't able to practice, or be it media availability. We'll see how things kind of transpire there. But when Aline goes in for Caravan there at the four, they go smaller. Essentially, that's their most effective lineup, according to evanmia.com. And that's going to be interesting for Miami. So I think Dan Hurley's got some abilities to change up the lineups, based on how things are going in the game. Again, assuming they have Hawkins and everyone else is ready to go, I think he's got some flexibility. I think it'll be interesting to see how Larinaga and his staff counter that or stick with what they have. But I think some lineup substitutions will be interesting. Miami's bench has been solid. It's not a strength of theirs, but I think it will be interesting in this game. And also, too, UConn's got a chance to go big as well if they want to with Klingon off the bench. He's going to be certainly a big factor. I think the matchup with Klingon off the bench, Anthony Walker off the bench. I know you've talked a lot about Anthony all season long here, but I think the lineup, just really analyzing the in-game lineups, maybe the coaching adjustments that go on, will be a big part in this game. Big key for both teams.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, like we said a little bit earlier, the bench has not been a strength of Miami. We're only usually going 2 or 3 deep, and especially last game, the minutes were limited. But we do have a little bit of flexibility as well. I think we need big games from those 3 guys off the bench: Anthony Walker, Bensley Joseph, and Harlan Beverly.
Isaiah Wong and Jordan Miller, I think both of these guys are going to have big games for Miami. I think you're going to have to lean on both those guys to do well on both ends of the court. Andre Jackson with UConn, what he's able to do, doing different things. I would love to see that matchup with Miller and Jackson to be able to maybe neutralize Jackson's abilities there on the offensive end. But because of the matchups, I think Miller's going to have to guard Caravan there from that starting group. We'll see if things kind of change throughout the game, but Wong could be guarding Jackson. That looks like that'll be the matchup to start with. But Isaiah scoring the ball is going to be key. I'm really interested to see how he plays here in this Final Four game. I think he's got a chance to certainly just cement it. I don't, using the word legacy is such a big term when you're talking about a player, but Isaiah, with all he's done individually and now team success at Miami, I just think that this is even a bigger stage for him. No other Miami player has been at the Final Four as a Hurricane, obviously. So Isaiah's got a real chance here. And I think a key for him, getting to his spots, the mid-range jumper, being able to get some shots down there, also sticking with the game. I think sometimes he comes out, he's a little off at times, maybe getting some free throws early. We all talk about that all the time with players, maybe getting some free throws, get into a rhythm early in the game where you see the shot goes in. And I think maybe that can expand his other shooting stuff. But I think that the shooting for Wong, all the guys, because of where they're playing at, will be big. Both teams will have to see who can adjust to playing in that arena, what it's like playing in a stadium, an arena like that.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think you're spot on with Wong and what he needs to do to get going. But like you said, as far as legacy, I know that is a scary word, but this guy, he has a chance to cement that legacy with all the accolades that he's picked up this year, now in the Final Four, what he's done the last couple of years as well. I'm excited. I agree with you. I mean, if he's off early, sometimes he disappears for a little bit, but I'm confident that not only will he get off to a good start, I think if he does start off rocky, he's not going to disappear from the moment. I mean, it's the Final Four. He's been the guy all year. He's got great teammates to help take the pressure off when necessary, but he's the guy I want with the ball, taking the big shots, and I think he's going to do it.
Justin, defensively, Miami creates turnovers. Sometimes they trap. Sometimes they even put a little bit more ball pressure, pick up a little bit. It's not this full-on press, but sometimes they kind of mix things up defensively. What do you think are the keys defensively for Miami in this one?
We'll see. I mean, I think that we gotta bring that pressure. I've seen good things when Miami's trap the corners, maybe like a 3/4 court type of press. Like you said, it's not full court, but put that pressure early. Bother the other team. We've seen good results, and I think that we're best in transition. So whether it's forcing some misses or forcing some turnovers, I like when we get out and run with the ball, especially against a team like UConn, who I think is going to be physical, slow it down a little bit. If you watch our tournament games, I mean, that's what's worked against the Canes, is slowing the game down and being physical, both Texas and Drake. So I think we got to be aggressive, apply pressure, cause some turnovers, and run in transition.
Miami's out rebounding their opponents. They've done a good job of that all season long. Only one loss when they've out rebounded their opponent all year long. So that's certainly a key. I think one thing, and kind of wrap this up, just again, defending the screens. I think that'll be the big part for Miami's defensive output, where they've definitely have got to defend the screens, not just the ball screens that a lot of people want to point to, but off the ball. Make sure you're closing gaps. You're not giving up easy layups. I think at times we've seen that with UConn when they're really clicking, they get a lot of easy looks down low, in particular with their layups, with their screens. They've got big guys that can screen. And obviously, with Sonogo, the ability to pass there out of the post has certainly been a big factor for the Huskies offense. Justin, I hope you enjoy your trip. I hope it's safe. Hopefully you get there on time. You enjoy all the festivities, the excitement of it. You really soak it all in, and hopefully you come back with even more excitement than you're going into it, man.
Absolutely. Thanks, Chris. Hey, I'm looking for a Miami FAU final, South Florida. So we'll see what happens.
We'll see how it goes. We'll definitely talk about it then, man. Have a good trip. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, Chris.